With that, I will open up the meeting to the public. Does anyone wish to speak? Yes, sir. Just your name and address before you start.
My name is N.J.S.A, 1559 Ridgeway Street.
And Bernadette Thieme.
Also 1559 Ridgeway Street. We're here to tell you that about your police department that you just were bragging about. We've endured 5 or 6 years of our civil rights being violated and our quality of life being violated by lack of response by the police department with respect to a neighbor who needs a little bit of help. She's been harassed, we've been terrorized, your police department comes out, sometimes they make out reports, sometimes they do not. Most of the times they do not. We've been told by one of your detectives that if we don't like what we see by Detective Marquez, we should pack up and move. I want to tell everybody in this committee right now, we'll leave union at a time of our choosing, not what Detective Marquez says or any other one of the bureaucrats that you've hired. She's been living in this town for 55 years, paying her taxes on time, and I don't need the kind of response from your police department that you just bragged about. Now, you guys just bragged about when you hired him, Mr. Zeiser, that he was a combination of J. Edgar Hoover and Dwight D. Eisenhower. He doesn't really care about this town. He doesn't even live in this town. Does the townspeople know that? He goes home to Clark every night, to an upscale town where the crime is much lower. And he summers in Manahawkin very nicely. He doesn't give a darn about this town.
What makes you say that? How do you know he doesn't care? If you want to
I
ask
saw
us...
him here when you had the snow thing 2 weeks ago. He gave very flippant answers to the people's questions. He doesn't respect the people that pay these taxes because he doesn't live in this town. Most of your police brass doesn't live in this town, and some of the people back here don't even live in this town.
You have
And
to understand...
every letter that we wrote to Dan Zeisner and to Chief Kramer was years before that said to me that it sounds like a quality of life. Well, 5 years later, it still sounds like quality of life, but nobody's helping.
Are you talking about
my
where you're being
quality of
harassed?
life.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're just referencing right now?
Harassment and
Terrorized, vandalism.
Well, let me make one comment first, and that is that I absolutely, I'm not going to say the word object, but disagree with you with regards to Police Director Zeiser. And if you're referring to our other people in our other branch, there's no law or rule that requires someone has to live in town to work in either police or fire or any place. That's number one. Number two, we have seen some very substantial improvements under Director Zeiser with regards, whether you believe them or not, statistics are showing that we're doing much better in this town. The police force is much better motivated, and there's a lot of things going on. Whether you particularly don't agree with that, we see the statistics, the numbers, and comments from many other people who feel 100% opposite to what you say. So you have your right to your opinion. We don't see that as the case. And I know personally, even during the snowstorm, I disagree with your answer. It was flippant answers. There were what went on during those snowstorms was unbelievable in terms of what we did with our fire people and our police people. So to say that they don't care what goes on here, I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. That can be your opinion. I would like, Mr. Zeiser, do you have any knowledge of what they're talking about in regards to these harassment things? Would you like to come up and make a comment, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is an ongoing problem at Ridgeway between them and a neighbor. It's been going on for years, long before I got here. There's been court orders where it directed them not to make any more complaints. They're in headquarters constantly making complaints about their neighbors. The one house has a camera looking at the other house. It's ongoing. It doesn't stop. And
what are you mentioning about the court? I'm sorry, there's a court order?
There's a court order that we cannot take action with them. They have to make any complaints they got to do. They know what they have to do. They got to go down to Superior Court in Union County to make any complaints. And that, to be perfectly honest with what I understand,
that came out of a court order to you?
Yes, that was prior to my arrival in the
I've
town.
never seen that order. All I have is a no contact order.
which doesn't.
We know that there was a directive from Chief Kramer who said he wasn't going to send anybody out there anymore, so
Since
I got to get my civil
2007.
rights violated. I want to tell you something about these cameras. We had a camera pointed at our bedroom.
Would you get up to the microphone so people can hear you, please?
We had a camera pointed at our bedroom, and the response I got from your local court clerk and your police department is, we're not going to file any complaints with that camera pointed at our window. That's a peeping Tom violation, and your police department, once again, did zero. I think they're playing favorites. okay? I don't care if it's Chief Kramer who moved to Florida or Mr. Zeisner who goes home to Clark every night. We're still not getting our full services from the police department. And you people have to talk about statistics. Statistics can be manipulated, okay? You're bragging about it. I see more crime on my street. I've seen this person in question come home at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, taking out 10 and 12 little bags of white powder. It's not confectionery sugar. It's drugs. There's drugs next door. There's drugs on that block, and your police department is still doing zero about it. We've seen a dead body come out of there from a drug overdose back in 2008. All right?
January 27th.
2008. She had snow thrown in her face. Luckily, the EMS people came and tended to her needs. But when the officer came, he didn't even want to come up the driveway and take her statement because he was too lazy. And the particular officer they sent out likes to play the ethnic card because that people next door happen to be Polish like he is. That's good police protection? No, it's not. It's not good police protection. He wasn't arrested for that assault. He was let go.
And then,
But if it happened to your wife or his wife in Clark, they would have been arrested right away. I think because we live in the Vauxhall area and he comes from an upscale town, he doesn't give a damn about it. Here's the police report that I got. 10
Okay.
squad cars went to his house, okay, because he thought there were 9 snipers in front of his house. Why is this blacked out? Why am I being withheld from information from your town clerk, probably?
There are things that are done in, do you want to explain that a little bit? It has to do with...
Privacy Act.
It's Privacy Act, right? You want to, okay. There are certain things that have to be blacked out that come out of executive conference. Those are laws, whether you like them or not.
It
But
didn't come out of executive
can you
conference.
wrap
It's
this
a
up
police
because
report.
we do have a 5-minute limit, and I know you've exceeded that, but would you please wrap up what you'd like to say?
All right. As far as I'm concerned, with the blacked out spot, that's a cover-up. There's no reason a police report should be redacted.
Well,
You
see-
gave him all his information in the front. You gave me his social security
Mayor.
number, you gave me his phone
Okay,
number.
all right.
So why is this redacted?
Mayor, if I could comment just a couple things. Number one, Mr. Nardiello, certain police reports information is redacted for personal privacy reasons with regard to what's contained within the document. I can't tell you what's redacted because what you have there is redacted. But the simple fact of the matter is we comply with the law when we produce public documents and we redact certain information that we're required to do by law. That being said, I heard many of your complaints. I'm somewhat familiar too with the history of the problem here that you have, excuse me, with your neighbors. That being said, I have some concerns about what Mr. Nardiello is saying. I've heard that he's basically saying that our police department is not doing their job, certain township officials are not doing their job, and I want to go on record and say that we enforce the law, we enforce it equally, fairly against everybody. I would suggest if you have any complaints about the operation of the police department, you go see the Union County prosecutor and make your complaints to them. They are the chief law enforcement officer in the county. They answer to the Attorney General. But at this point, I'm going to caution this Township Committee to refrain from making any comments because I've heard several not overt threats, but indirect threats with regard to what we're doing or not doing. And again, there's been a long history with Mr. Nardiello and the neighbors, and I would just keep the comments to a minimum. Thank you, Mayor.
The only thing I would add is what's going to really happen with this, that you've all abandoned it, it's probably going to turn to like what happened on Longview Road. And who was the hero there? Not your police department, the civilian guy saved those people. So if I don't see any kind of investigation going on that street, I'm just going to go down to the FBI, DEA, and tell them there's drug activity going on there, and let them take it, because you people up here should be ashamed of yourselves.
Thank you.
All of you,
Thank you.
particularly you, Mr. Antonelli, as a lawyer.
Thank you.
But you live in New Providence, so that doesn't matter, you don't care.
All right, are you finished now? Okay.
Yes, I am, Mr.
Thank you.
Florio.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?